All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gitanjali Ghosh. I am a MSc final year student of Applied Microbiology from Banaras Hindu University. This is my first journal club presentation in Omics Bootcamp. Today, my topic is Salmonella as a model organism to study host pathogen interaction from an omics perspective. The field host pathogen interaction has always questioned the skill of biologists in the context of finding the permanent cure to the disease caused by them. One of the reasons behind it is their intriguing ability to perturb host machinery and utilize host nutrient to synthesize their own biomass. Omics studies help to discover or to unravel different aspect of pathogenicity by pathogenicity of intracellular pathogen. So these are some important names that are related to Salmonella pathogenicity. Salmonella came under spotlight after the case of Mary Mallon, who is popularly known as Typhoid Mary. Mary Mallon, who was an Irish-born cook, and during her cooking career, she transmitted the disease as an asymptomat in 53 people, among whom 3 died. When she was engaged as a cook by Charles Henry Warren in Oyster Bay, 6 of the 11 people present in that house affected by typhoid, the Warren family called George Albert Soper. Though George Albert Soper was an engineer, he was very much fascinated about epidemiology. He initially believed that freshwater clams could be involved in this infection. He had conducted his interrogation of the sick people and also of Mary. Finally, Soper had solved the mystery and became the first author to describe a healthy carrier of Salmonella typhi in the United States. First, Carl Joseph Ebert and Gaffkey isolated through pure culture technique the Salmonella and they named it Eberthella typhi. After that, Daniel Elmer Salmon and Smith named it Salmonella cholerae suis. There is a reason behind why they named it cholerae suis because they first thought that this organism has a connection with cholera. So they named it Salmonella cholerae suis. Estimated 1.4 million cases of salmonellosis per year in humans occur. The whole presentation is divided in mainly 3 parts. First, general introduction of Salmonella and host pathogenicity. Then, different types of omics application to unravel their how they cause disease in host and also their corresponding results. So, Salmonella under the kingdom Eubacteria, phylum Proteobacteria, class Gamma Proteobacteria, order Enterobacteriales, family Enterobacteriaceae. There are mainly 2 species under Salmonella, that is Bongori and Enterica. Under Enterica, subspecies are Enterica, Salami, Arizonae, Diarizonae, Houghtonii, and Indica. Under Enterica, there are mainly 2 types of serovar. One is typhoidal and another is non-typhoidal. These are example of Salmonella enterica serovar, their host and disease. Under typhoid, there are 2 types of Salmonella enterica serovar like typhi and paratyphi. Their host specificity, they are mainly human restricted and cause disease like enteric fever, abdominal pain, transient diarrhea or constipation, a salmon-colored maculopapular rash on the trunk. Non-typhoidal are typhimurium and enteritidis. They have a broad range of host specificity and they cause disease like gastroenteritis, abdominal pain, vomiting, and inflammatory diarrhea. General characters of Salmonella. Salmonella are gram-negative, rod-shaped, non-capsulated, non-spore forming, facultatively anaerobic. They are also motile except S. gallinarum and pulorum. There are more than 2000 serovars of Salmonella. The main antigenic determinant or antigenic portion of Salmonella are O antigen. These are mainly present in outer membrane. H antigen, this is present in flagella, and VI antigen, which is virulent antigen present in capsular polysaccharide. There have been reported 21 to 24 SPIs, that is Salmonella pathogenicity island, that are responsible for showing virulence of Salmonella. Among different types of SPIs, mainly SPI1 and SPI2 code main proteins that mainly play role in pathogenesis. These are some SPI1 and SPI2 coded proteins, and these are the major events encoded by these proteins. Okay. So now coming to the how they cause disease in human. Salmonella are typically acquired by oral ingestion of contaminated food and water. They show an adaptive acid tolerance response that promote their survival in the low pH of stomach milieu. After entering in the small intestine, Salmonella traverse the intestinal mucus layer and evade being killed by innate immune defenses in order to gain access to the underlying epithelium. They enter by bacterial mediated endocytosis to the non-phagocytic cells through type 3 secretion system. There are mainly two types of type 3 secretion system, both by encoded SPI1 and SPI2. SPI1 encoded T3SS help to penetrate the epithelial cell, and after penetration, when they form a SCV or Salmonella containing vacuole, in Salmonella containing vacuole, SPI2 encoded T3SS mainly function. However, Salmonella preferentially enter M cell through pinocytosis and subsequently enter in the underlying Peyer's patch and engulfed by phagocytic cell by inducing macropinocytosis. Moreover, in vitro salmonella are able to disrupt tight junction. Also, this in addition to they also induce interferon response, probably contributes to the induction of diarrhea. So this is the whole mechanism, or this is the insight inside the cell, how different types of protein coded by SPI1 or SPI2 mainly help them to penetrate the host epithelial cell and establish the disease. Salmonella enters into host cell through specific type 3 secretion system. The type 3 secretion system mediates the transfer of bacterial virulent effector protein from bacteria to host cell. Once inside the host cell, this effector can alter various host functions like cytoskeletal architecture, membrane trafficking, signal transduction, and cytokine gene expression. So coming to the next point, which protein mainly play which type of role? Primarily replicate in macrophage. CYP-A, SOAP-B, SOAP-D, SOAP-E2. Okay, so these are some protein like CYP-A, SOAP-B, SOAP-D, SOAP-E2 coded by SPI1. Salmonella resides a vacuolar after penetration. Salmonella resides in a vacuolar compartment named SP or Species phagosome. SP shrinks over minutes to hours to form an adherent membrane around one or more bacteria called SCB. Salmonella can sense the intracellular hostile phagosome environment of host and modify their outer coverings like in capsular polysaccharide chain length. Such regulatory systems include OMPR or ENVZ, 4P4Q, RPOS or E, PMRAB, acidic pH, antimicrobial ROS, SPI2 coded Chinsar CIF-A, SSEJ, FG, SOAP-D2, PIP-B2. SSEJ have a specific role. It has a deacylase activity and active on the phagosome membrane. So this is the overall view how different types of SPI coded proteins help to survive in the intracellular condition. Now, this is an important study which normally shows that Salmonella can divide in intracellular condition and in SCV. The fate of intracellular pathogen that enter through endocytic mechanism is to fuse with lysosome. But there has been controversy that is this SCV fused with lysosome or not. There are some papers that tell that SCV quickly gain and lose early endocytic marker. Normally, this is a study performed by IISc in Deepshika Chakrabarty's lab, where they use some chemicals like sodium orthovanadate to inhibit dynein, and they showed that Salmonella, this is a electron microscopy, and they showed that Salmonella can divide when they are enclosed in SCV, and along with their division, SCV also divides. Now coming to the omics portion. So this is we can say that difference concerning the host and pathogen molecular content. When applying omics approaches for studying host pathogen interaction, to consider the difference concerning the host and pathogen molecular content, if the focus is on the host, studies can largely neglect the pathogen content and vice versa. So to address the difference between the host and bacterial pathogen, one of the first thing to consider is their difference in size. The diameter of eukaryotic cell typically range from 10 to 100 micrometer, whereas that of bacteria range from 0.1 to 2 micrometer. Consequently, when considering bacterial and eukaryotic cell as sphere, their volume range between approximately 10 to the power 5 to 10 to the power 9 micrometer cube for bacteria and eukaryotic cell respectively. In terms of genomic content, eukaryotes possess larger and more complex genome than prokaryote. The genome of bacterial pathogen varies between kind of 0.8 to 8 MB, whereas the genome of higher eukaryote organism and mouse are much higher. Moreover, when studying the proteome of an infected host, the mass spectrometry-based identification of bacterial protein is highly challenging given their overall much lower levels and the fact that despite recent improvement in accuracy, sensitivity, and speed of mass spectrometry and the performance of liquid chromatography, low loading capacity still result in undersampling. So these are kind of problem to study host pathogen interaction. Besides the increased genome complexity of most eukaryote, the DNA of eukaryotic cell is organized differently from that of prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic genetic material is organized as a macromolecular structure of highly packed DNA and protein known as chromatin. Bacteria usually possess a unique circular chromosome and in some cases extrachromosomal replicon known as plasmid. So when we try to study the host pathogen interaction, these are main drawback or main problem in studying the genome size, the RNA content, the protein content between eukaryotic cell and bacterial cell. Now, the significant limitation when studying host pathogen interaction is the macromolecular content difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic, as I told. Another limitation is the reproducibility and the interpretation of reported findings. The things like 3D architecture, multicellular complexity, commensal microbiota, gas exchange and nutrient gradient, and physiology relevant biochemical forces. A major challenge in tissue engineering for infectious disease research is recreating this dynamic 3D environment biological, chemical, and physical or mechanical, to more accurately model the initiation and progression of host pathogen interaction in the laboratory. So the perfect model system is a limitation to studying host pathogen interaction. Application of omics in following portion, like to study host pathogen interaction, to study metabolic adaptation during intracellular lifestyle, and single cell omics. Omics include genome, transcriptome, proteome, metabolome, and microbiome. So we can call it the pan omics that involve all these things. Some omics application in host salmonella interaction studies. Omics approaches in host pathogen interaction study have the advantage of enabling integrative study at different levels, including gene transcription, protein synthesis, alteration in proteome level, etc. These are some quite useful techniques that we can use to study host pathogen interaction. And in case of salmonella, it has been used specifically. One is BONCAT, that is protein labeling based isolation of bacterial proteome in infection model through BONCAT. The full form of BONCAT is bi-orthogonal non-canonical amino acid tagging. So it is specifically a amino acid tagging technique. This is an amino acid tagging technique in which newly synthesized protein are tagged with non-natural amino acid like azide bearing methionine surrogate, azide homoalanine, trans-protyl glycine, azidonorleucine, etc. And after growing in such media that contain this type of amino acids, after that we can recognize it by or analyze it through click chemistry. Azide alkyne cycloaddition can be linked with fluorophore or biotin and purified by applying affinity purification technique. Another is secretomics. Secretomics for identifying Salmonella affected through type 3 secretion system through in silico method and phage display method. In secretome, normally secreted proteins are studied, secreted proteins and the actual secretion machinery. But now, previously it include only that secretive protein and its machinery, but now also include the extracellular protein or cell adhesion protein. So to study secretomics, normally two types of approaches are there, like in silico and phage display. In silico, there are some algorithm to find consensus secretion signal of secreted protein, either N-terminal region or 5' end of mRNA sequence. And another is phage display, where library containing approximately 10 to the power 12 phage particle displaying different bacterial protein parts. This type of library we can use to express specific antigenic portion of Salmonella. And another is ribosome profiling as future endeavors for bacterial translatome. By expressing an epitope tagged ribosome protein in a cell-dependent manner or under a tissue-specific promoter, translating ribosome affinity purification or ribotag help to identify mainly the unidentified open reading frame or ORF and alternative translation machinery. So ribosome profiling or ribosequencing of ribosome protected mRNA for pathogen translatome study upon infection. So BONCAT, some in silico approaches include phage display and ribosome profile or ribosequencing. These are quite useful studies that help us to study host pathogen interaction. This is a heat map representation of identified Salmonella protein and corresponding label-free quantification intensities when analyzing complex host pathogen peptide mixture. And these are in different ratio, the host pathogen mixture. And this is the proteins expressed by host and pathogen. This is a useful study by Brookley, a multiomic view of host pathogen commensal interplay in Salmonella mediated intestinal infection. This study shows that Salmonella also can perturb the usual or already established commensal microbiota in gut and utilize different types of nutrient there. To study how they interact with gut microbiome, there are some omics related studies like protein extraction and digestion, protein analysis by LC, LTQ, Orbitrap, MS or MSMS, protein data analysis, metagenomic study, RNA isolation and RT-PCR analysis, FEM glycan analysis through LCMS. So this has been showed what is the result or what is the interaction between Salmonella and gut microbiome, and it has been showed that this is the pre-infection stage, this is early day infection, mid and late day, and you can see that H. typhimurium in pre-infection absent. In early, that is day 1 to 6, primary proliferation controlled by host, mid secondary proliferation, and when they are going to establish in gut, they also use fucose, and in late, clearance persistence in mammalian reservoir. So it has been shown that Salmonella can perturb the usual commensal microbiota present in gut, and they use also some specific type of carbohydrate for their own metabolism like fucose. So this is the metabolic study. Metabolics is an upcoming technique that gives use a global view of Salmonella metabolism. Isotope profiling analyze current metabolic fluxes under defined condition. Galls et al. Used to analyze carbon metabolism in Caco cell. Metabolic measurement have also been improved by other techniques like engineering genetically encoded nanosensor from citrate binding proteins such as the histidine sensor kinase. From citrate binding such as the histidine sensor kinase citrate A to measure in vivo citrate concentration. These are some, there is also a model specifically for Salmonella, that is metabolic modeling by Cobra, and non-invasive imaging like bioluminescence and light microscopy. By studying constraint-based analysis of metabolic capacity of Salmonella typhimurium during host pathogen interaction, which is also known as Cobra, it has been shown that these are the portions, or these are the main component of their part of their cell, like carbohydrate, nucleotide, amino acid, cell wall transport, which lipid, etc. So this is an useful study. Now Salmonella also, in when they are present in Salmonella containing vacuole, in Salmonella containing vacuole, they normally express the SPI2 coded proteins that help them surviving in hostile environment. Metabolical analysis has described SPI2 coded proteins that help to persist Salmonella in SCV, and also these metabolical studies give insight what nutrient they use in SCV. Normally glycerol, arginine, glucose, fatty acid, gluconate, N-acetyl glucosamine, etc. These are some useful web resources for Salmonella omics. Now, this is a good technique like single cell omics technologies that mainly help to study single cell omics or single cell function. Though the host pathogen interaction studies mostly dependent on in vitro tissue culture approach, there is a main drawback. What is the drawback? That is, the cell culture gives us the average feature of the population constituent. Even the population that are homogeneous in surface marker, hidden cell-to-cell variation have direct consequence on the cell function. So these are quite useful techniques that help to study the single cell, to study a single cell, like bisulfite genome sequencing gDNA, mRNA sequencing, G and T sequencing, MARFIS, qHCR, LCMS. Also, there are some study they used single cell omics technologies like Avraham